The webinar has started.
Didn't we just have a mastermind?
Yeah, it feels like that, doesn't it?
We're always masterminding.
Oh man, I
Although,
know, right?
in truth,
Ay.
with the quirk of the calendar, it was only 4 days ago that we had our previous session. So welcome back, everybody.
Yeah, right. And I want to know if Bridget Callahan's feeling any better because I know she wasn't feeling all that great.
Oh no. Well,
Bridget, how you feeling?
yes, much better.
Oh,
Oh,
good.
good.
Much better. Excellent. Cool. Love to hear that.
All right. So welcome everybody. Welcome Bob. Welcome Bridget. Welcome Dr. Art, Dr. Jean. All these docs.
Yeah, all these talks.
Elaine,
I mean, there must be like really smart people that come on this thing, man. You
what?
know?
Put in the hard work, you get the degree, and then you get, you know,
Then
you
you
get
get to
the
be like famous and stuff.
there you go. Dr. Jean says, greetings from Chicagoland.
I bet
Okay,
it's nice and warm up there, right?
yes. And so actually, I see Fede is on there too. And so you'll see part of the reveal that I'll have later with some of the video that he gave me. So that's great. But let me do a quick bit of housekeeping to address a question that Federico had in terms of setting up the PAF Brain software. So with the PAF Brain software, one way to diagnose if something is not quite working right, as I understand it, Fede said he was able to set up his PAF Brain account. And as part of that, there's a whole process where you put in your API key into the software and all of that. His symptom is that he's able to run ChatGPT 3, but not 4. So one way to take a look if it's an issue with your ChatGPT OpenAI key is to actually log into the OpenAI sandbox. You'll be able to, it's not where you go to the ChatGPT Plus. So it's not chat.chatgpt, and all of that. It's actually just go to regular openai.com and you'll see two panels and click on API. And when you go in there, navigate to the sandbox. And there you can, it's a very cool interface with 1,000 different switches that you can throw. But in there, you can select all the models and see if you can run 4 in there, Federico, and report back to me, and then I'll help you troubleshoot further. Okay, so we have some folks coming on. Hey, Linda, Nat, Jane. Oh, Jane, glad you can make it. We have some continuation of our previous discussion. Ridgely, do you want to catch the with only revealing what you can, catch the rest of the membership up with the session that we had with Natalie and Jane this morning, and some of the homework that we've been working on since then.
Yeah, the most fun part of the whole thing was Nat and Jane. You can weigh in on the chat too. The most fun part of it was having everybody say, "Hey, we went to this 8-hour seminar, blah 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 blah. We learned more in this session than we did in the whole day with you, those guys." That was fun for me. I enjoyed that. Like, okay. One of the things that we're talking about that is very important for everybody that's using AI is how can you do work on proprietary information that you don't want shared through open AI, yet using the tool of AI. So we're really trying to work on this because it's very tricky. And if you put content out there, not only might you be risking your content, but you could also potentially be jeopardizing legally data that belongs to clients that you are entrusted to protect. So figuring out and understanding how to use AI tools to work on proprietary content is actually very important and a little tricky. So we had this conversation today with Natalie and Jane's team, and we promised that we would come back to this to discuss this again. What can you do? Hey, Cheryl, good to see you on here. It's been a long time. I haven't seen you in a while. To protect that content and still use the tools. And I have absolutely no idea how to do that, which is why we are blessed to have Hubert, who is way smarter than me.
Yes, thank you. And we'll discuss that. So I asked the mastermind to put your thinking caps on and share with us some of the best practices that you do in terms of consuming PDFs and files and documents. And
You can pull Jean up if you want. She knows.
Oh, I'm sure she does, but that's not where I want to start. I don't want to start on the deep end. I want to segue into that because I know a couple of other people might still be joining. And so let me give a couple of catch up things from last time in terms of the PAF AI images, the new software. I want to see anybody out there if they've installed it, if they've run it, any feedback. Dr. Jean, I know that you've installed it. I don't know if you set up the API key yet, but again, let me share my screen and review again the flow. So originally, tell me when you can see my screen. My incredibly messy zillion
I
tabs
don't think you have a thing enough tabs open though, bro.
that I always have open. And this is just in one browser. I got 1,000 other things going on as well. Okay, so again, for those that are new to the whole shebang, partnerattractionformula.com/mastermind is your home for logging in to the entire experience. Okay, when you see Ridgely, you know you're in the right place for the partner attraction formula. I always get this error. I don't know why. I have tried logging in twice and then I get in. Once you get in, you're in the partner attraction formula. There are two main things. Some of you may have other things as you've been with us for a while and purchased other kinds of goodies. But the main thing here is the partner attraction formula AI Vault. You click and you access that. And in there, you will see all manners of tiles, including the very important call schedule. We do send out email reminders, but sometimes it's good to know in advance and set your calendar and so forth. Then we also have all the calls always archived. I want to bring your attention to the PAF Brain because it's been brand new. But before I go there, let me just mention some of the other things, including the Ridgely's private prompt library document, which we talked about today to some of you earlier. And so that's a very key thing. But let's start with the PAF AI Brain module. In here is a whole walkthrough about how to go and register. And there's all these instructions about the API account and so on and so forth. But here, brand new, this section here, we're pleased to offer you access to our new software. This is a parallel software called PAF AI Images. It is pretty snazzy, and I'll demo it now. Okay, so we go to, oops, I better refresh my memory. You can access it at this URL, images.partnerattractionformula.com. Okay. Sorry, I'm mumbling to myself. Alrighty, so you come, you log in. And oh yes, this was where we were playing around here. But actually, let me log out and show you a real life client application instead of talking about goofy UFOs and everything else. Alrighty, so Andrew Dale, who you all know is part of our community, not only is he a master at search engine optimization, he also is a 30-year veteran of the custom pin industry. Okay, he's asked me to help him doodle out a new website of his. He's moving down to Florida. He's setting up a brand new company. He is making pin design, AI pin design, part of the whole entire approach and enterprise. And so he asked me to, work my magic with some of the designs and so forth. And so I just wanted to show you these background images that are here. Let me go to another one. Hard enamel pins, soft enamel pins. These beautiful images, believe it or not, are not actual real pins. They are produced via this software right here, the AI images. So we'll review this work in a second, but let me just run a live demo right here.
So just for everybody's benefit, that's software that you have access to that is part of your PAF AI mastermind. So really pretty cool stuff.
Collection of custom lapel pins used for corporate marketing. You can choose these different styles of art. I'm going to choose realistic because maybe we'll get a nice one that I get that I can add to Andrew's site. I'm going to say base idea so that it gives it a little freedom to run. I'm going to choose the size of the image. Let's see what we get. You click generate image. Now, again, this software is running, it's running through our software, but you provide your own Open API key. And those you have been using your OpenAI keys, you know that the cost is extremely advantageous. Okay, so let me widen my screen here. Not too shabby. Look at that. Now, okay, let me just save before. Always save. Okay, so I'm just going to call it pin 00001 and hit save. And then I'll show you where it winds up. And it winds up right over here. Okay, and then you can download it, you can view it, you can delete it, you can click on it. Now, the prompt that our software actually optimize is over here, and you can always take this prompt. You remember that I wrote a very basic prompt. Behind the scenes, it goes and does all kinds of magic depending on what, you know, those parameters you chose in those pick boxes, those drop downs, and it created that prompt there, which is very cool because then you can take this and go to other AI tools of yours and run that same prompt. And this was a photorealistic one. And look at this. I mean, this is awesome. Now, one key trick that I use when I go to create the page, I use techniques on the page where I'm putting in effects and layering screens on there, and I'm purposefully like blurring it a little bit and screening it back. And so this is another pin image that was created by the same software, but it's in the background. And so I'm using the output, but I'm purposefully making it as part of the background art so that if there's weirdness in there from the AI, it's not as noticeable. Like, for example, here, if you look at some of these pins, let me go to a better example. This image right here is rather extraordinary, so I didn't need to hide it at all. That's why it's pretty much in full color. But when you get to something like this, as you all know, AI imagery cannot spell, right? This one managed to, I guess you can't misspell the word hi too much, but there are some other things in here that are words. The words are nonsensical, right? And so if this picture was here in its full opacity and glory, you would be stuck as to like, what is this gibberish? But we use techniques to hide that. So I just wanted to show that and encourage any feedback that you have of the pin process. Now, since I'm sharing my screen, Ridgely, let's go right into the discussion about the Emory Group story.
Well,
Okay?
hold on. Before you go any further, man, I just want to say, okay, this is pretty ridiculous. Okay, people, I mean, to think that AI is now creating this, so we don't have to pay for stock images. You have access to the software that can create these images that then belong to you. You can download and use as you deem fit. It does take a bit of practice. I get it, which is why I let Hubert do it all, so I don't have to. I just focus on the words. But how cool is that? That you can layer in things, you can frame it the way you want to, you can overlay words, you can create whatever you need for your own website without having to pay for those images anymore, because you can create them in the AI images software that's part of your mastermind. Very cool. I want to say congratulations.
Yes, but let me drop a disclaimer in there. Okay, with AI, you often hear the phrase garbage in, garbage out. Okay, the corollary to that also is once you get some good output, it's on you to use your best practices in whatever areas of expertise you have to make full use of it. Okay, and so this next example, and Ridgely will help narrate the story to you all, is an example of that. We have a customer, a wonderful lady, Roxanne Emmerich. Ridgely will tell you the backstory as appropriate. Federico is part of her team, fabulous video work that he does for them. She engaged Ridgely in an exercise to make her site more limbic. And Ridgely went through and did a whole workshop with them, followed the worksheet, got some great messaging in there, and went on to help her because she was redesigning her website to make the limbic messages part and parcel of the website, right? And so we're going to show you that. But however, there's a new thing going on where, and Ridgely will tell the story as appropriate once I start sharing, where she wanted to take it beyond to the next portion. And so I took it upon myself at Ridgely's request a couple of days ago to start redoing her new website in a drop dead gorgeous manner. Okay, more in this style that I just showed you with Andrew's pin site. I'm applying, my years of experience in terms of user experience, user layout, and more importantly, graphic design skills to kind of do the things that are necessary to make it ultra modern and very, very slick. So originally, I'm going to share my screen, and then you tell me when it's appropriate to start telling the story, and you jump right in. Okay. So this is I just went to the Wayback Machine and looked at one of their sites from early 2023, or maybe this was late 2022. Okay, so originally, I don't know if this is the version that you worked on before the change, but it was very much like a magazine layout type of thing, meaning there's like all kinds of stuff, right? This is the homepage. You land here and I don't know, maybe you read taking ambitious banks here, get low cost deposits. I don't know.
It's like overload, way overload
stuff, right? So originally worked with them and created their new version of the website that is more limbic. So let me just make this smaller so that we can take it in. And then now, Ridgely, you start telling the story here. What did you do with her in terms of messaging and the process? And, how did you guys wind up doing this redo?
So in essence, what we first had to do the limbic messaging workshop, obviously use our software, use our master worksheets, etc., to create the messaging. But I was limited and have been limited because I've had to work with a company that was in charge of their website stuff, which is the company that's done this stuff. We went back and forth multiple times. And I want to share with you, one of the things that kind of bugs me is that even at a high level, a lot of times what you do is you pay for somebody to be more of a custodian than to think for you when you're dealing with website companies. In other words, you have to tell them kind of what you want without them thinking about what would serve you as a client. Now, I understand that most agencies do not have a lot of business intelligence experts that are there to help a company think for themselves about the results that they're going to get. But when you get into the range of where you're spending 6 figures a year, which they are, then you really should be getting brain power on whatever they're creating, right? In other words, you get what you pay for. You pay for a great videographer, you get Federico quality. You pay for incredible presentations, you get Bridget Callahan quality. If you don't, you're going to get something way less than that. But if you're paying a lot, you should be getting Federico or Bridget level quality or Hubert level quality. And this ain't it, okay? It's just not. And so I was like, man, this is just bugging me. Way too slow, way too not good enough. It's okay.
Although this, like, for example, this is a page that got redone. This is better than their old layout of this.
Well, for sure. It's better. It's better because Ridgely was trying to help. But Ridgely is not a user experience guy. I do words, right? Words is what I understand and work well with. Hubert has the entire user experience bailiwick because of many years of running a team on Wall Street that built Merrill Lynch, BMW, MetLife, and a bunch of other big websites that Pfizer that had unlimited budgets. So clearly Hubert has way better expertise than I do. So yes, this is a major upgrade over what it was, but is it good enough in my mind? I don't know. It just looks dated still, man.
And now I will explain my approach, but one more data point Ridgely gave me is, and Ridgely, I don't remember the URL. What's the name of the inspiration website that she wanted us to look at?
High Point University.
High
HBU, oh yeah, there it is.
Point University. Okay. So I'm going to go to their homepage, highpoint.edu. I believe this is it. Visually, you tell me if this is it after this loads.
Yes.
Okay. All right, cool. Okay, so now the customer is saying that she right now has this website here, which her design firm literally just went live with the changes. Okay. And this is what they created. And she said, I don't know exactly what's going on, but this does not look like this. Okay. So she says she likes how modern this is looking. She likes how dynamic it is. She just kind of likes this kind of a layout. Okay? Now, so originally said to me, "Hey, I'm actually going to go see her. Let's show her a mock-up." Okay, so that's now totally set up. Except that I should also say that I then said, "Okay, that's cool. Look, there's a moving background on here. Let's actually mock something up like that." We know that Federico is a great videographer. We called Fede and asked him, "Hey, send us some B-roll. We just wanted to, do a little background, a mock-up for her." And that's how Federico sent me what we got. Okay, now originally is the stage set for the big reveal.
There you go.
Okay. Now I originally mocked it up at, and you can go here later originally, server 102.xyz. I am just going to literally hit launch now and launch it. Okay. So originally, the concept here is Federico sent me some footage. Okay. As you see here, it's just B-roll here. I went and got additional footage. In actuality, I went to some banks and kind of ripped off their video footage just for the purpose of this demonstration. Okay. Now, think of this part as a silent movie. You're telling a story. You don't just like take any random B-roll. The story I'm trying to tell here is you deserve to be among the industry's best. Now, don't forget, this is literally what is said here. Okay. You deserve to be among the industry's best. Okay. So I am retelling this story in this new format with the background imagery. The background imagery, as you see, it loops between the Emory Group footage and slick looking banking footage that's appropriate to them. I know that they have a lot of customers richly in rural areas, and I know that her background is rural, and that sort of agricultural banking kind of exposure was some of her early expertise. So I created this looping thing where it shows banking, but also cut in with her events and so forth. So that's what's looping back there. Now, again, it says you deserve to be the industry's best, but now I've made it interactive. When you click on here, it scrolls to the next page side. Our purpose and mission is to help you get there. Again, take a look, guys. I am literally translating what was here. You deserve to be among the industry's best, and our purpose and mission is to help get you there. That's fine, but you're not maximizing it, and nor are you injecting any kind of slickness in there, right? And so what I'm doing is I take the same simple thing, I'm just going to reload it. It's moving, so people want to see what's going on because they're now like engaged right away with the limbicness of a video and the feel-good video. And then they consume the limbic message here, and then they click one of the elements and scroll down here. Our purpose and mission is to help you get there. I have the image moving. I'm picking up the phrase to help you get there in the color of like the dot in their image. So then as they scroll down, now we're putting like the results. The story we're trying to tell is you can be an extraordinary bank. Roxanne and her group will get you there. And this is an award ceremony at Extraordinary Banking Awards. Originally, you can tell that story, but these are the results. What we believe. We picture a world where your bank moves from ordinary to extraordinary. Now, these are limbic messages. Visually, you're shaking your head.
It's just so much better.
Okay, so now let's just go back and look at how they've done this panel. So here, don't just take our word for it. Sales process, close rate, bank doubling, blah, 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 whatever. But like so when the customer says, well, I don't know why my site doesn't look like that slick site I wanted, it's because your fonts are clunky, it's too big, it's like it looks like you created it, on the bus in PowerPoint on your laptop, that kind of a thing, right? So the elements in here are a little rough. We picture a world where your bank moves from ordinary to extraordinary. As you see, I'm taking the same exact concepts and I'm translating it into kind of a high design. There are issues here that the untrained eye may not see. As I scroll through this page, this is like a font collection here. Like every font is different. It's like, choose a font. It'll be on this page. Okay, so like take a look at this section. Font 1, font 2, font 3, font 4. I mean, like, it's just like random. If you look at this kind of an approach here, it's all tied together, right? We picture a world where your bank moves from ordinary to extraordinary. So now here, there was no need to make the big clunky numbers. Let's put the numbers underneath, the appropriate logos. And I just grabbed some logos, but we'll optimize it when we actually do this job to make it all tie in. 85% sales process close rate. Emery Group clients boast upwards of an 85% close rate, and 70% double their profits. 80% have cut marketing budgets, yada, yada, yada. We're going to identify originally her like main point, and we're going to put it right over here, 85 plus such and such, whatever. And then when you click it, we'll bring up a nice video. Testimonials is super important. It's unbelievable, but very, very real. We tripled cross sales, blah, blah, blah. And this is the CEO of a bank. And the video is right here. Let's play it for a second.
So the metrics that mattered, one that we really didn't even know how to measure at the time was cross sales.
So originally talked about bringing out business know-how. So actually, to correct originally used the term business intelligence. I happen to have a deep background in business intelligence, but we're not talking about actually business intelligence here. We're talking about business analysis. Business intelligence is about data warehousing and trends in data and big data and all of that. Business requirements and business analysis is really understanding what the client who lands here, prospective client, wants to hear and need. And so, I ran through this thing. I looked at his margin talk and all of this, rewrote this, and put it on here in a nice visual way. Here's the team. We'll ask her for the rest of her team. So one example here is when I go to team, and then I know this is taking a while now, so I'm going to cut it short here, but there's our people. One issue about user experience is if you tell your visitor what you're going to do and don't deliver it, that's bad. Okay, so who we are. This sets it up, the Emery Group team, our founder. And so, yes, this great stuff about the founder, the founder, still the founder, impacting hundreds or whatever, still the founder. So originally, this is like all the like Roxanne. That's great. But this thing says, before you get the idea that the Emery Group is all and only about Roxanne, we've curated a team with depth and breadth. These are the people, blah, blah, blah. So you're like, okay, cool, let's check them out. Sorry, the page ends. So like, where's the team? There is no team. So that's like the #1 cardinal rule in user experience design. Is like, if you set up that expectation, you better deliver. I'm sure that maybe her design team is like, okay, well, we'll get to it. Yeah, well, maybe we'll get to it, right? And so originally, we are talking about like, it's not just Roxanne, it's her team. I happen to know that Roxanne has her own site. She can toot her horn like crazy, and I'll help her on her own site. But let's put the team up here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then now we talk about why choose Emery. Here are their products. Originally, you'll recognize these are those programs, but let's also put the proof. We're going to ask for proof points right here, and then social media, website proof. And then finally, back to talking to the client. These are the finalists for the Extraordinary Bank of the Year Awards. Ridgely can tell you all about it. I'm just simply asking, isn't it time for you to be extraordinary? Ridgely, what do you think?
I think it's brilliant, bro. Now, let me ask you one question. Can you go back up to the top? I just want to check on something.
Yes.
Because, so this is an unbelievable improvement. Is there a way to make the video brighter? So not quite as muted? Only because HPU is a little bit more bright.
Yeah, it is. But see, here's now the question. And folks, this is where you as an advisor or in working with an advisor, you listen. And we, just to be transparent, Ridgely and I had an experience about a month ago where I guess because we were tired by this point of all the requests, we started saying yes to everything. Then the client came back and said, well, your job is to say no to me. So Ridgely, I can make it brighter, but I'm going to say no to you because the second the tone here starts conflicting with the limbic messaging weight here, then that's the break point here. So the answer is yes, it can be brighter, but not at the cost of making this illegible. Now, if we go back to the college site, what do you notice about this college site?
Well, it's brighter, but there's no words.
That's right. So do you want bright or do you want words? You see what I'm saying? And I'm not asking you for an answer. I'm just telling you, these are the thinking points and the talking points. And we'd be happy to make this gorgeous and everything. Sign the agreement and we'll get started doing it.
So I'm curious as to Federico's take on this. So Fede, again, there's some business logic behind this dialogue. What we're having right now is,
and by the way, if we want to bring Fede on, since he's on the Emmerich team, that would be totally appropriate.
Yeah, let's do that because I want to think in terms of when you're thinking about going after an engagement, and this is a very big engagement, right? This is a six-figure contract. So you're going after six-figure contracts. You got to kind of ask yourself, okay, what have I heard that prospect say to me about what they want and what they're looking for? And so Fede's going to join us momentarily. Now we're
that looked like an intriguing piece of stock art until he started moving his camera.
I know, man. I don't know about that, but just so Fede, are you hearing me or not? Or am I just like talking? I made him join, but he's snuck into the other room, or maybe he's gone kayaking, or maybe he's like picking up dead iguanas or something that no.
There he is.
But now I can't hear you, man. You're on mute, dude. Now I can't hear what you're saying. I can't.
He's probably saying, dude, I'm on with a client. You're killing me here.
Okay. All right. Well, when you're done, come back here and talk to us because I want to.
Let's try that. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Good. Yeah. Okay. So I guess I'll just hold it by hand here. The video froze. Okay. So
we can hear you though.
I know, man. He's just a video guy, but now we can't get him on the video. So I don't know what that says about the state of affairs of this world these days. That the video guy. Okay.
There we go. Look at that.
There you go.
Oh no! Originally, Jane had said it well. She said it's a teaser. It brings focus.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It was all done on purpose, by the way. Yeah, Ridge.
So Fede, your take on the question at hand, showing the screen again. Yubi, again, you know the client better than anybody. We're looking to wow the client. You know my eye is always going to come up with something. And my question is, should we figure out a different treatment for the limbic message, you deserve to be among the industry's best, so that the video can pop even brighter and more clearly focused like it does on High Point University? Or do you like it this way and why?
Before you answer, look at where it's placed relative to the B-roll. The challenge of the B-roll is that Federico provided me with valuable B-roll that you have to read. Super conference, and just wait for it to loop. You'll see that all the B-roll that has words to read are not where the you deserve to be among the industry's best is. So this was a very tricky implementation here. Okay, so we're asking them to read B-roll plus read the overlay. Look at this. Celebrating the best banks in America. You deserve to be among the.
I love that one. I love that one.
That was hard to do right there, Richard.
Yes. Yes. Now, Hubie, here's the thing. Knowing Roxanne for as long as I've known her, since I think we've been working since 2016, she is going to love bright, clear, super high contrast. That's just her element because she's just so visual and so about color. I mean, look at the way she dresses, right? So to that respect, if there's any way we can give the limbic messaging a treatment where you can still see it, however, see it like on top of a bright, sharp, contrasty background, I think like it more. And then what I would say is like, look, this is what I'm trying to do. So my version would be that. But in terms of if you want to wow that client, the first thing she sees on that site is that super crisp, clear video.
See, that's 1000% what I think also. I
Well,
guess
so
you're saying, Hubert, 100%.
That's why you had me come on. I know.
exactly. Well, so we'll have to redesign the site by tomorrow for it, and I'm gonna have to leave this one alone and do a redesign. It's not gonna be easy. It'll take all night and all day. But what time are you seeing her?
5.
Okay, so
but again, I mean, this is how. And so for everybody's benefit, and this is the first time I'm seeing this, right? And obviously it's an insane improvement. Everything on this page is insanely better.
So if you open with this on the top, it's bright and colorful, but it's nowhere as slick as seeing something like this.
Right. But all we're saying is, here's what the client said. The client said, I love this. High Point University.
Yes.
And what I know is if a client says, I love green, then guess what Ridgely loves? Green.
Yes.
If a client says, I love
Green.
blue,
yes,
Ridgely loves blue. So when she said, I love this, and it's that crisp and that clear, then I would really think that it's going to be more impactful to the client if we show her something that is just as clear as this.
Yeah.
Okay, but where do you put the limbic message?
Maybe it's right below, or maybe it's above in the navigation bar. For now,
because here's the thing, Hugh. I mean, that limbic message doesn't change much, does it? It's the same one throughout, right?
no, that's just on this, just for this image.
It's a different one everywhere. So
But-
I'll take this.
But
I'll take this under advisement. We should take it offline. We have some
Yeah.
guests here that need to have their points covered as well. So just
and Hugh, to get back, into the bigger picture of the exercise, I am just absolutely blown away with what you've done. And the value that you're bringing to me, even in understanding the sequence and the user experience. I mean, this is stuff you can't pay for, okay? Because we don't have access to go into the rooms of the 100,000, 200,000, the $1 million agencies. But this is the kind of thinking that goes there. And
right.
As you were doing this, is like, oh my God, all those banks need this.
Thank you. That's good. Let's check the chat and see what they say. Dr. Art, very, very good. How sausage is made by experts. Thanks. Linda says, I hear Hubert's logic. Dr. Jean said, noted, I think the placement is great. Now, Bridget said, I wonder if you went dark with the overlay instead of white. So we can try that. That might be something. And Dr. Jean said, I totally get Hubert's point too. The High Point site has that box in the bottom right corner. Can it be offset just a tad? So we'll play with that and fool around with it. I ask you, Ridgely, that if I do get something that you can show her, that you show her both versions. Because here's the number one rule that I've learned in working with agencies. I was the creative director for an interactive agency at a publicly traded company in New York for 11 years. Okay, we went through all kinds of growth and everything, and this is why my clients, I cut my teeth doing this with the Fortune 10. Okay, we're not talking about the Fortune 500 or the Fortune 1000. I've done work with the top dozen companies in the world doing this kind of stuff, right? And so the number one rule that we showed them is if you think creatively, every deliverable of that creativity is to be shown to the client. So Ridgely, you and I did that just a couple of days ago about like, and this involved Federico also. There was a video that was produced, and then we revised it, but I made the strong point of let's show both, right? And so the principle is let's show both. So yes, I'll work all day and all night to create a second version, but please show both.
Yeah, yeah. And oh, by the way, last time, just saying that the last time Hubert did this with me and said we have to do a second version. I was the one who had to do the work. It took Federico and I a long time to do all that shit. And I will say, excuse my French, that version number 2, which was the version that Hubert recommended that we redo because he didn't like version number 1, was met by the client with, yes, this is clearly better.
Right.
So,
but the value there, although, is to show number 2 and even say, let the data decide. Number 1 and number 2, they're both usable, meaning like, hey,
yeah.
you get 2 deliverables for the price of 1.
So, okay. All right. And by the way, while we're talking, of course, she's texting me over here on the phone, telling me, see you tomorrow, blah, 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 all that stuff. So excited about the.
Okay, cool.
She's asking me, she's expecting a 5-star rating for her guest house. So wants to know if I have any special needs, like dietary requirements or certain kinds of chocolates or wine that I need to make the stay better. I like that kind of treatment. Just say it. Because she wants a 5-star review on her Google. Okay, cool. I'll get it for you. No problem. All right.
That's great. Like, what's your favorite caviar? Okay. That's great. Okay, thanks, Fede. Let's send Fede off, and then let's move on with the content. So, folks, sorry for the deep dive. If that kind of like, if you had no interest in that kind of stuff, sorry that we spent, such a deep dive into it.
You know what I know? Almost everybody on our mastermind loves deep dives. So,
okay, cool.
All right, cool. So
Bill has some good feedback here. Thank you, Bill. I think ultimately for her, it'll be all about clear, eye-popping video. So there's a vote for you, Rich. Okay. Hold on. Let's see. Jane, thank you, says, I do like the idea of the offset box. That's great. Linda Roche says, I defer to the master. Thank you. That's a cool idea, Linda. Maybe a fade from bright on the left to a bit more shaded on the right. Bridget says, Hubert, you're a brave soul for taking in all the comments on this design. Bravo to you. Great work. Thank you, Bridget. Okay. Jim says, that's what we're here for, Hubert. Thanks, Jim. I'm actually here for the jokes myself.
Okay.
Gary here, says Linda. No giving at the expense of yourself, Hubert. Okay, great. Okay, thank you all. All right, so originally, what do we cover next? I do have some things to report to Jane in terms of what I found and so forth.
Okay, well, let me bring on James from Singapore, who is joining us at 6 o'clock in the morning his time. He hopped on the phone, and so I'm delighted to invite him to join us as a panelist because he has questions that were beyond my pay grade.
Okay.
And so well, I'll let you guys discuss this. Here comes James.
Okay, James, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Should be here. There we go.
Hey, James, how are you? You're joining us from Singapore?
Yes, I am.
The best food in the world is in Singapore.
Yeah, there are more restaurants than people.
Okay, well, thank you for joining us. You have the record now for being the farthest away to join this particular call. So, all right,
Wow,
what is your question? What is your question?
Oh, the last time when I was chatting with Rich Lee, it's about the the combination of information. Like, for example, in one of the chat, let's say ChatGPT 4 or something. In one note, you ask about health topics, and then in another section you are trying to do a translation, and then in another note on another day you are like talking about some other content. So the question is whether we could amass all this content together, and so that AI kind of know your style, your the way you look at things, or your main purpose of gathering the information or presenting information. I mean, you can be talking about health, but you can be talking about you want to talk about health in a friendly way because that's your style rather than an educationist or something like that.
Yes.
So does AI do that?
Okay, great. Yes. So I have a lot of advice on that because so
Told you, James, I told you he would.
yeah, as a matter of fact, Ridgely, this is basically the same question as we handled a week ago when you had me advise Steve, a brand new member, about this as well. So James, so one question, and then I will give you my advice. So in these different chats, how different is the subject matter? Very different, unpredictable, or is it all mostly similar?
Mostly similar because you're like using the chat for work, right? You're
Okay.
not using the chat to be able to come up with ideas for a birthday party, something like that. It's
Okay.
totally different. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I ask because, for example, in the when we use chat for the mastermind, oftentimes we're doing research on behalf of our mastermind members, right? Somebody might have a question, and then Ridgely will go and do stuff in his chats. I would do stuff in my chats, and then during the day we might jump to a different member, and so it's totally different. Okay, if you have it one account and it's just you and it's mostly for work, and Ridgely, that's a scenario that we were addressing with Natalie and Jane and those guys. It's primarily in a work environment, and it's primarily about their own stuff, so all the chats tend to be similar. Okay, but regardless of if it's similar or different, it's a little more challenging if it's different, but the approach is the same. So James, the concept here is several concepts. Two concepts I want you to keep in mind. One is summarization and condensing the chats. Oftentimes when you do the chat, it's very verbose. You're trying things and you're typing and it's back and forth, back and forth. I will share with you and the rest of the members when you have a session and at the end you're satisfied with the session. Okay, there are some prompts that we can show you how to run that they create a summary of the most important factors of that previous chat. Okay, you do the prompt. You can say, oh, thank you very much. I very much like the output that we arrived at. Please create a summary summarizing the content, the bullet points, the tone, the style, and create a digested summary. At the end of that chat, it will say, okay, here's what we discovered, and it'll give you a block of text. Okay, when you do this, you will see that for AI, it's easy to do a summary like that. But for you and I, it would be difficult. We would have to read through the whole thing again, decide what's important, what's not important. But ChatGPT is trained to know what's important, right? It knows the real data versus the signal versus the noise. So you summarize it. Now, this means that with the summary, and part of the prompt will be provide a summary that's sufficient so that I could take that summary and launch it with another chat node or in a different AI altogether. Maybe instead of ChatGPT, you go to Bard or any other AI, meaning now your chat nodes are portable, right? And so you do that for each chat that you find important, okay? And then that was the first concept. I call it summarization, like creating a digest. Okay. The second point is forking. Okay, forking is like you're going down the road and you can go this way or you can go this way. Okay, and now you have like an issue. Your first route is this way. Then you get to the fork, and then you have version A and version B. Like, how do you do like version control and all of this? Okay, so let's say there's a chat session that you like and you create the summary, and now in your mind you say, oh, I can now go this way or I can now go this way. What you will do now is create a new chat window, a new chat thread, a new node, and you put that summary in there, and then you continue with the thinking of fork A, and you do your thing. You start another chat window, and this is fork B, and you take that same summary and you put it in there, and then you think in B and you go that way. Now you've created a fork with a basis that you can, if you wanted to do fork C, a different variant, you always have this point here that you can go back to. And then when you do A and B interactively, you're gonna say, oh, A was good, but B, I thought it was a good idea, but it's not such a good idea. Now I'm gonna go with A, right? Now you take the original plus fork A, and then you do a summary on fork A. Now that means that you can continue, right? So it sounds like it's a lot of management, but this is a good way to like do version control and forking, and lets you play. The good thing about the chat windows is that you can, because you have so many chats, you can, use it to brainstorm. But the question is, how do you go back to the previous, decision points? That has to do with this summarization. Is this helpful at all, these concepts?
Okay, it's
good.
just like let me extend a little bit, just a little bit on that.
Yes.
Is there like an experience on the amount of content, the amount of different chat that does it matter in that it's like getting to know somebody, the more conversations you have, the person better. The less conversation, then you are restricted on how much you can express. So
right.
is that similar? Yeah.
So yes, and here's where yes, it's important, but the important part is to create that digest, that summary, because of, and Ridgely experiences this all the time. Ridgely, I think they're fixing it so that it's less, but James, are you familiar with the term AI hallucinations? So AI hallucinations is sometimes if you keep one chat going but too long, it's just too long. It's at the beginning, it's like the results are good. It's like, wow, it's impressive. But after a certain while, it's like it gets dumber. It's not as good. It's not as productive. It starts getting like wrong answers, and we call it a hallucination. It just like the chat has gotten too long. It's gotten off topic, and AI just can't handle it. And that's why you need to be able to every once in a while create that summary so that you can jump over to a new chat session and restore it with that summary. Now, Jane is asking, what would I had mentioned that you can go to a different AI. Let's say you're going from ChatGPT over to Bard or whatever you want to choose. The advantage of doing that is each of the AIs have been trained differently. And sometimes you'll get a fresh way of thinking and some additional value out of trying a different AI. So James, for you, do you have multiple AIs that you can use?
No, not yet.
Okay. So I
have two different accounts though for ChatGPT. Yeah.
Okay. So have you used in Singapore, is Google Bard available to you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So just to expand your thinking, when you take these summaries, put it in there and just kind of continue there, and you will get some fresh thinking, just because the AI is trained differently. Okay, now I will send you, because now I owe it to Steve too, Ridgely, I will start writing up some of these exact prompts to create summaries and so forth. So I'll get that to you, James.
Great, thank you.
Okay, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, good morning to you. Good afternoon around
Thank
here.
No, go back to sleep.
Yeah. All right, Hewitt, wrapping up, you wanted to talk a little bit about the research that we had done for Team Group.
Yes, cool. Okay, so let's actually catch up on the chat. Ridgely, I've talked more in this mastermind than I have in like the last 17.
Awesome. I was enjoying myself, not working very hard.
There you go. Okay. Oh, Bridget, wonderful. Here's a dad joke from ChatGPT. Why did the website designer get kicked out of the bakery?
Why?
Because they kept asking for, quote, responsive cookies. Oh, boo, 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 boo. All right,
Okay.
so Jane asked, for what reason would I use a different AI platform? What would the benefit be? Okay, we covered that. Nat said, feel free to check out teamgroup.com. That's team-group.com. For the previous conversation on websites, I worked on a home video project that had similar challenges, but took it here. Ignore other pages, below. Websites, a work in progress. Thanks. Okay, thank you for that. Bill, very kind. Hubert, you're the best. Dr. Jean, Hubert, will you share the forking prompt too? Yes, I will. Okay, awesome. All right, so now on to Jane's question. Jane, would you like the option of coming on camera? Totally up to you. You can stay off and listen to me ramble, or you can elect to join us. So Jane will let us know. And then Ridgely, if she says yes, you can bring her on.
No, she
Okay.
says no. She just wants to know the answer.
Okay, so here is, now I don't know, I don't have the exact answer, but I have some answers to some of the questions that you were involved with. And let me just do my show and tell.
And by the way, just for everybody, remember, this is available to all of us. Support@partnerattractionformula.com. Send a question. We route it to Hubert and we make magic happen. So please use the resource that you have.
Yes, let me close some of this stuff. This is why I have 1,000 tabs open, Ridgely, is because I do 1,000 things simultaneously.
Okay.
All right. Bear with me, everybody. We will get to...
And of course, Ridgely's going to tell you that that's, by the way, a horrible idea because multitasking makes your brain tired. Just saying.
Okay, but I have no choice. Okay, that's my Chinese cooking 10-minute break there. Hold on. Okay, Ridgely, I'm just going to stop my screen so that I don't inadvertently share any privileged information, and then I will come back.
Somebody grabs the screenshot and steals your stuff.
Yeah, I know. That's because I do that to other people.
Yeah. Don't listen to this guy, okay? Just saying. All right.
Listen to what I say, not do what I do. Okay, here we go. Okay, oopsie.
You're
Okay.
not seeing your screen yet.
No.
Sorry.
Okay. You know when Hubert says oops, that's a bad thing. Okay, so sharing my screen now. All right, this is random, in random order. I addressed some of the things, Jane, that you and Natalie were talking about earlier on the call. So one of the points that Jane brought up is she's working with org charts and that sort of thing, and what can AI do in terms of helping with org charts. Okay? So this is a graphic. It's a PNG file. It's got, you know, I don't know, it seemed too small for me to read or whatever. So the question was, this was sitting inside of a PowerPoint presentation. I think it's this one here. It's something like, hold on, it's not there. It doesn't matter. It sits inside of a PowerPoint slide. And the question is, can AI help in any way to create these types of diagrams? Okay, so here are some of the approaches. Okay, so first off, one of the approaches needed was, is there any way that I don't have to hand type all of this stuff from scratch, especially if I'm dealing with a big giant organizational chart? Okay, so let me show one of my chats where I show, here we go. Okay, so again, if you guys are running ChatGPT Plus, you have this plugins category where you can go and install and turn on certain plugins. Right? There's this thing called the plugin store. Go in here and you can browse all kinds of different plugins. And everybody, please keep jumping in as you always do with, you know, your favorite plugins to help you do certain tasks. Okay. For this task, I went and I installed one called OCR. That's this chat OCR. Best way to read text from any document. Extract text from scanned PDFs, photos, even handwriting. Sounds cool. So I installed it, ran it for the first time, and I have it turned on here. That was what I did was I went and I turned on chat OCR. And that is the thing for it. And then I simply said, extract the text from this PNG image, because I know I had it in PNG. And it says, of course I can help with that. Please provide the URL of the PNG image from which you want the text extracted. Okay, so I went and I took that image and I put it up on a website. Okay, so not everybody can easily do that on their own website, but you can use services and such where you can, you know, host an image and put it out there. Now, originally, this immediately brings us to the question that you raised earlier about if it's sensitive information, do not do that, right? This is like how stuff inadvertently gets out, okay? Now, I know that this was from a public-facing document whose purpose was for the public to look at it, so it's fine to put it up on the website and have a URL. So I provided with the URL. That is actually this URL right here. It's, you know, you can see it's actually on our domain. And I gave it the thing, and it goes in and runs the Chat OCR plugin. It says the OCR job is in progress for the image you provided. I'll let you know once the text extraction is complete. Please wait a moment. I went and did all this stuff. It kept running and running and running and running, like with no progress. And so I said, is the job done? It goes and runs it again. And now it says it's complete. Here you go. I think it actually just gave up. It says, here is the extracted text. Now, this is kind of close. I see words like vice president and workman and stuff like that, but this is kind of, maybe it's a head start for you, Natalie and Jane, but like, I'm not sure of the quality control here. Okay, I can see certain words that make sense, but you definitely will have to check the spelling, you know, and so forth. And to be honest, I can't even easily read what's on here. I see Sean Murphy, Jason, and then if you come on here, I think their names are in here. Okay, so that's OCR reading in that plugin. This text appears to be a list of names and titles, possibly from an org chart. If you need any help, please, blah, 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 whatever. So that's my attempt at OCR using a plugin. Okay, great, wonderful. The reason why I do that is because of this plugin that I'm demonstrating here, where I created an organizational chart, okay? So that's this guy here. This time, let me just see which one this was using. Oh, wrong chat. Here we go. This one uses a plugin called Lucid. Okay, Lucid is a diagramming service. You can get a free account, and it gives you, you know, what you need to draw basic diagrams. I'll show that to you in a second. So I loaded it, and I said, help me create an organizational chart. Sure, I can help you create one. Could you please provide me with the details, for example, the names and positions of the individuals, how they're hierarchically related to each other? That's the value of having that, you know, that data scraping to get the text. I said, use Lucid to help with this, and it goes and it says, sure, I can use it. However, I need specific details. And so it's asking you, tell me who the CEO is, John Doe. Under the CEO, tell me the roles. Under the CTO, tell me the roles, so on and so forth. I said, okay. I said, use the example data. I just was lazy, and I just copied this and put it in there to get an example. It went and used Lucid. It says, okay, here's an org chart. And so I click view the org chart. It goes and creates this diagram right here. And originally, tell me if you can see this diagram. So it created this diagram right here. Okay, this is an image. This is an image. And you can take this image and embed it into your PowerPoint. Okay, it says if you want to edit it, you can edit the chart using this link. So I click it, and it opens my Lucid account, and I'm just using the free account. And then it goes and takes that information, and now you can edit it using Lucid. Okay, so meaning this was a hybrid where I used ChatGPT and a plugin to help me get a start in an exterior program. Now I'm in the world of this other program, and I deal with it here. Okay, then the discussion earlier went to, well, instead of doing it that way, is there any way that we can actually use ChatGPT to create a PowerPoint presentation, right? So I tried that, and that's this project here. And I used a plugin called Smart Slides. Okay, it says AI-powered tool for rapid PowerPoint presentations. Just input the needs and let AI do the rest. So originally I figured, oh, ChatGPT can replace Bridget Callahan. I said, let's replace her. Right?
Fat chance.
So I installed it, and this is what I'm here to report to the mastermind. So I said, act as an expert PowerPoint slide designer and help me create a PowerPoint slide with an org chart in it. Sure, I can help you. To get started, I need a few details. So these are good questions. Org chart details, names and positions, titles, hierarchy, design preferences, color scheme, font preferences, additional content, slide layout. Do you have a specific layout in mind, or should I choose one that best fits an organizational chart? Once I have these details, I can create a custom PowerPoint slide for you. So now I can hear, Bridget getting worried. It's like, oh boy, AI is about to outsource me. So I give it some example. I copied exactly the same thing. Great, thank you for providing me. I just needed more information. It asked me more questions. Once I have the details, I'll proceed. I said, use your judgment. I would like there to be a title above the chart that says org chart. It goes and uses the Smart Slides thing, and it says you can download it. And so I actually did that, and I uploaded it here. Okay, and so let me show you the slide. So it has a commercial, and now this is the org chart. And I'm like, okay. And then it says, thanks. Okay, so it produced this slide right here. Okay, so I was less than thrilled. So I went back to the chat, and then I said, oops, where is it? This guy here. Oh, this was here. I said, I wanted a diagram of the org chart. So it goes and cranks again. And now it says, I've updated the PowerPoint slide to include a diagram of the organizational chart. And then it gave me this. So Bridget, I'm proud to report that it cannot do what it did do. So instead of giving me a diagram, it moved it into the layout left and right. And I guess its intention was that it was going to put a diagram here, but it cannot do it. So anyway, that's a long about way to say that some of these plugins are not quite ready for prime time yet. It cannot create slides for you that can replace Bridget Callahan, although it can very slickly produce a 9-page travel log of Paris and have all different pictures of the Eiffel Tower in it, Bridget. Okay, so let me just check here to see if we had any questions. Dr. Jean, as a former classroom teacher for a very long time, I had to be able to multitask to survive every day with my kids with special needs. Fede, I sent Hubert a testimony video that may be pertinent to use further down the page. Make sure you see it for version 2. Okay. Jane said, how did you upload the file? Okay, so uploading the file was me uploading it to a web server that we had. So again, that's what I was referring to, that not everybody can easily do that, but you can, there are like image hosting sites and places where you can upload an image and be able to share it with the URL. So I know some mastermind members have dropped some of their favorite services for that in the past. So if you do that now, I'll read it out to you.
And by the way, for everybody's quick benefit, it's not that multitasking isn't a valuable skill, even though I'm not a believer. It's just that it takes way more brain power than focusing on one thing at a time. So if you want to have a brain power to keep going on lots of things throughout the day, the more you cut down on your multitasking, the more brain power you will have left to keep working on things. So this book right here, Your Brain at Work by Dr. David Rock, new release, incredibly insightful about how the brain works.
Nice.
So,
okay, cool. That's awesome.
I gotta jam out of here too, bro. So I'll let you finish this up.
Yeah. Okay. Wait. Don't. The last time you jammed out, it ended it for everybody. So I'm about to end. So let me just read a couple of more things here. It says, Bridget said, "Okay, I'm going home." Well, Bridget, you have to come back now. Dr. Jean said, "I have had a crappy luck with creating PowerPoint slides with ChatGPT. Very bad. Bridget will have plenty of business for the foreseeable future." Bridget said, "Thank you, Jean. The result makes me happy." Dr. Jean says, "They're really terrible, in my opinion. I did 3 presentations last week. Shake my head bad." Now, Jane is reporting richly. She did try that Smart Slide plugin. I asked if it could use the team group.com layout. Didn't work, but still interesting. So I will keep working on it as well and report on some of the other things that we were doing as homework. Bridget said, "Therefore, AI equals death by PowerPoint." Everybody's saying, "Lol." Okay. So yes, Dr. Jean, please. Dr. Jean is offering to send me ideas on how to work in ChatGPT with confidential info, and then we'll report back. So that would be awesome. James says, "Not sure if it's really multitasking or just the brain switching from one task to the other in nanoseconds." I agree with you, James, and I also think that we're capable of true parallel processing as well. So I hear what you're saying. Okay, Richly,
Read the book, read the research, people. All right, so looking forward to seeing everybody next week. Next week, we're going to do a Friday afternoon, so that actually works pretty well for James. In Singapore, it'll be 4 o'clock Eastern time next Friday, 4 o'clock Eastern time. It's a great way to close out your week with some very brain stimulating stuff. All right, quick joke, Hubert, take us home.
Okay. All right. This is a geopolitical one. Okay, it's pretty funny, but you have to put your thinking cap on. Ridgely, I once dated a girl who was a communist, but it didn't work out. I should have seen the red flags. But Ridgely, this is a good rare 2-parter. But a communist joke that isn't funny unless everyone gets it. That's some pretty clever stuff right there.
There you go.
That's why
All
the good ones wind up in my dad jokes box.
Have a great week, everybody. Again, send your comments, send your questions, send your data, support it, partnertractionformula.com, and we will see you next week.
Yes, we'll see you next week.
Everybody. Bye,
Thank you very much. Thanks. Thanks, James. Thanks all.